All right, and welcome to the North Florida Prep Report. I'm Andrew Jupe here on the I-10 Sports Network here. And of course, an exciting day today and a perfect day, shall I say, here to set the table for us to understand what's going on. We're coming out of the preseason. It's the Monday. We saw a lot of the area games, the week 0, the preseason, the jamborees, whatever you want to call it. The teams are in action and they're playing other teams. And so you saw the first glimpse. And so I feel like the instant reaction is to jump on, and the instant reaction is the overreaction. And so, what better sequence or venue do we have here for a little overreaction Monday? Of course, an exercise to go through. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'll let you decide. Is it a reaction or overreaction? What do you think about there? So make sure you hit the subscribe button to make sure you get all the terrible takes and the overreactions and exactly where I was wrong around the mix. Of course, now that the preseason is in the books, like we said, let's get into it. Overreaction? Question mark. Number 1. Mosley Dolphins, state champs in the 5A classification. Here's what the score was. Yeah, that's right. You take a look at it. Not a mistake. 58-0. Of course, over South Walton, really successful club a season ago, was South Walton on the road against Mosley here, and they took care of business. They looked all the threat of a powerhouse out there in the Panhandle. Of course, La'Kavian Williams is fitting in just fine, I think, here to Mosley. Of course, you got the senior quarterback now, been in there 3+ starting years for Sammy Freitas. So you see these big offensive pieces coming into the mix. They look smooth. They look ready to go. They look hungry. An emphatic statement. So is it an overreaction? State champs in 5A? Of course, they could go all the way through. You think regional finals, for people that are in touch with the Panhandle football, okay. Regional semifinals, maybe some Final Four. All right, let's say they get to the championship game. But they're not going to beat St. Thomas Aquinas, are they? Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. So that's why you're the judge. Of course, front 7, absolutely mean here for the Dolphins. Do they have enough to take care of business? Is it an overreaction? Are we jumping too on board with that 58-0 score line? As something we'll get into a little later here, the North Florida Prep Report, the scoring is changing. The rankings are changing. We know the classifications have changed, but they changed the scoring for the ranks yet again here in the state of Florida, something that they're very successful at doing on seemingly an annual basis. So, of course, part of the metrics that bleed into that is they're trending more towards the max preps rankings. Something, once again, another topic we'll get into perhaps tomorrow on Rankings Tuesday. But, of course, here in the short term, Mosley Dolphins, potential state champs here. Of course, the front 7, like we said, has been mean, multiple quarterback pressures. You have the offensive pieces, the defensive pieces. You like where the line is. All your systems are kind of adding up. You like them emerging out of that 5A classification. Then they get through some other area teams. You get thrown into the mix with some of the Tallahassee squads. If you like Mosley, the high profile, not too crazy to see them going state champs. How about it? Transitioning on. Overreaction? Number 2. How about it? Lincoln Trojans, kings of the city. Hot take to some, overreaction to some, maybe not so much for others. Of course, you look back last couple years, 3-4 years or so, Lincoln and Florida High are going to be your 2 top dogs in the area, and so they faced off here in the preseason. Lincoln looked pretty good. If you think Florida High is going to be the test, they're going to be the top dog, the chief competitor, Lincoln. They beat Lincoln, and even with Lincoln putting some points and leaving some points on the table, your top dogs of the city. Overreaction? I don't know. should be interesting. You like Christian Sims at quarterback position, even though he switched up his number. He's down to the number 2 now. I kind of like the 15 that he had back in the day. But of course, Mekhi Maddox, he's going to be a beast. Of course, you got the run game, you got the defense, you have the X factors, have Paul running back kicks for Lincoln all over the place, right? So who's going to be the Chiefs challenger in the city? Of course, if it's not Florida High, or you think Florida High is young, or some of the other teams, you're kind of in a prove it stage. You think of the big Leon County 5, Childs, kind of bordering. Are they going to challenge Lincoln for the top spot? Godby, Leon, Rickards. You look at your options. Overreaction? Lincoln Kings of the City. How about another one? Overreaction number 3. 7 Tallahassee schools in the playoffs. Seems like a lot, right? There are a total of 10. So in case you forgot, you've got the 5 big ones. You've got Lincoln. You got Leon. You've got Childs. You have Godby. You have Rickards. Big 5. Then you go into the non-directly public schools. You have Florida High. You have FAMU DRS, St. John Paul II, NFC, and McClay, right? So you've got the 10. Luckily, they're split up into a number of classifications and districts. So I believe there's a total of 5 districts that they're spread out upon. 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. So, of course, once again, the new classifications. Nobody in the rural here in Tallahassee. But last year you got 5. So overreaction that you get 7. I think there's a distinct chance that there's getting into some 7, and that wouldn't be too crazy. I originally was thinking 8 pushing it. 7 overreaction? You decide. Of course, you split it. It's going to be crowded down low. But historically, a lot of our teams in the past for those lower classifications have gotten more of a density into the playoffs. So really, you'll need to only double up twice. Think of the big schools, Leon, Childs, Lincoln. You only need 2 of those to get in if you're trying to play this out. Here, so pick your poison. Lincoln, Kings of the City, you like them going through. If you had to pick, historically speaking, you're probably putting Lincoln in as your district champion. So they would get the automatic bid. So Childs, who's on the upswing, Leon on the upswing, we only need one of them to grab that at large. So boom, just like that, 2 out of 7 spots is in the books. So then you shift down, you've got Godby and Rickards here in the next layer here for these big public schools, both of which an opportunity to capture the district as well. So Godby up, no longer with Florida High, which was a big ask for them. So could potentially going after and getting their district. On the other side, Rickards is going to be with all those schools out west. So if you like the Tallahassee power and Rickards on the upswing, maybe you get one of those 2. So one of those 2 already bumping in. You've got 3 of the 5 big schools. So transitioning down, 3, maybe 4, right? 3, maybe 4 of the 5, which is all that you need. So if you get to that 3, get to that 4, you're right on the line of where that 7 is to be. So transitioning down here, you look to some of the smaller schools. So now we'll come out of the strictly public range. So Florida High, you got to like Florida High historically to make the playoffs here. And then you think McClay is on the upswing. And so that's 2 more right here. So then you're looking at your 3. You're looking at your 3. Can we get 2 of these 3 if we only got the 3 public schools, which I think distinct chance to go 4 out of 5 for the LCS schools, which would be huge. But can we get 2 of these 3, maybe one of the 2 or 3 of FAMU, who we think is up, NFC, historical power, making the playoffs, and St. John Paul II, who's been really hot as of late since the reemergence of the program. 7 sounds like a lot from the schools here from Tallahassee. Maybe it's not that much of an overreaction. So, of course, your big 3 topics there. Overreaction, maybe not. Of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check it out below. If you have some more topics or conversation thoughts, we'd love to hear them for the North Florida Prep Report. But, of course, that's what we have going here for our Overreaction Monday. Let's run it back here So we have Mosley state champs, we have Lincoln Kings of the City, and we have potentially 7 Tallahassee teams in the playoffs here on your Overreaction Monday. So appreciate you tuning in here. Of course, come on back with us. We'll be back shortly.